Lowkey Deep. Real talk, real artist.
First of all, Raye, thank you so much for taking the time in the day to talk to me.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously, I'm so excited about it.
Oh, that's so kind.
I saw so much of you, and I kind of studied you a little bit, and I was so excited to meet you because you seem like such a nice and genuine person. I was
that's lovely.
It's maybe going to be a great interview.
Yes, it is going to be a great interview.
But one thing I couldn't quite figure out was what came first to you, releasing songs for yourself or when on a professional level, right?
Yeah.
Or writing songs for other people, or was that simultaneously?
I guess simultaneously. Technically, my very first song came out when I was 15.
When you were 15?
Yeah, it was called Need Me. It was on SoundCloud.
You even know the name?
Of
Can
course.
you still sing it?
Yeah. It's like, oh, baby, baby. It's really cute. Impatience. It's some like dramatic thing, but it was like a little R&B slow jam.
Yeah.
It was like really cute. I love that song.
You do love it? It's not embarrassing to you because...
No, some of the songs on that mixtape was I can't listen to now. I'm like, oh, cringe.
But you still
that
have it.
particular song I loved. Yeah.
Okay, would you play it on stage today? I mean, it's a meaningful song.
I'm playing a song from that project.
You really are.
Yeah, it's called The Story So Far, so we have to start all the way from the beginning.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
It is.
So then, your first song was for yourself.
Yes. And then my first songwriting credit that got placed, because, you have to write a lot of songs before like one gets used. Mm-hmm. So there were so many songs written with other artists or with other producers and stuff like that never came out. But my first songwriting cut that I got, I was 17.
Yeah. How do you get into that? What is the first step? Like on a professional level, did you send it to producers? How do you approach being a songwriter?
You have to write so many songs.
Yeah.
Like you just have to write really, because you don't know what song is going to be the one that people want, or what song is going to be the one that comes out. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And even when, there's this thing as a songwriter, you have to really not have any expectations, because you could get to like the final stages of almost making it, and then 2 days before you're like, no. Like I had a song
sounds so crushing
that was like so close to being in like a Marvel film.
Oh wow.
And it was so close, like they were testing it in the film, they were testing it as the credits, and you're just like holding your breath, and then 2 days before you find out you didn't get it
before release.
Yeah, because songwriters are last to find out.
That's
all
so
of this stuff.
heartbreaking.
But you can't. You just got to be like, okay, cool, and then we move. You can't get upset. You just have to get on with it. Like it always happens. It's like, some huge person I think is gonna cut your song, and then it doesn't happen. You're like, okay, cool, move on. You're just used to this disappointment as a songwriter.
But at some point you had to learn to not be disappointed and also not be too married to your songs.
Yes.
I imagine also, if you say you write that many songs, I would be like, after I finished one single song, I would be like, that's it. That is the greatest song that I could ever produce. Okay, let's go. I want to be famous now. How can you like continue then and be like, okay, next one?
Do you know, it's just, I think it's realizing, I don't know. It's for me. I love it, and I love it's a language. They're like little stories, I guess it's kind of like writing a poem, or doing a painting, right? If you're an artist and you paint, you're not going to do one painting a year and be like, well, that's it. But you might, that might be like your expression.
That kind of person. Yeah, true.
But you can have some artists who are painting every day, or who wake up every morning and like, I'm gonna do a little sketch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then some big oil canvases. Yeah.
Are you then also a person who writes several songs at a time? Because if I imagine a painter could be painting different songs at different times in a day.
Yes.
Do you do that with songwriting as well?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy. For me, it's very important to have perspective. So your first listen of a song is like the most valued kind of objective opinion you can have. Sorry, I'm getting all technical, but
go ahead.
So for me, when I'm working on a song, I'll maybe sometimes work on like 2 at once. Mm-hmm. So I'll spend like an hour on one, and then I'll pause, close the session, open a new, because it's like you've forgotten the first song. So when you play it again, maybe a bit later in the day, you have a fresh perspective. You're like, now I'm hearing it with fresh ears. That pre-chorus, no. This lyric could be better, but this hook is really giving me something. You know, just all perspective. Thank you.
And how do you not get mixed up with the songs? It's like, maybe I would imagine if I like something about the hook on one song, maybe I transfer it unconsciously to the next one. Does that happen?
I mean, do you know what? It's all feeling. It's all like what your gut feels. Oh, I get this feeling, you know, or there's also technical standpoints when you apply things you've learned in the past. You know, sometimes things can blend. Sometimes it's intentional. It's like, actually, I've written a great verse on this song and a great chorus on this. We could combine. There's no rules. It's just what inspires. It's like playing Tetris. Sometimes it's more mathematical than others. Sometimes it's all about feeling, depending on, you know, what the song's for, what its purpose is. Yeah. You know?
How would you say is the ratio in between actual skill to write songs and inspiration? And maybe also talent?
Well, that's a good question. I would say it depends on what the purpose of the song is. So for instance, creating a song with the purpose to sell is very different with creating a song with the purpose to express something as an artist.
Explain the difference.
Or to vent a feeling, or as therapy, or creating a song to sell is like, you know, to be candid, a song like Bed, which I did with Joel Corey, you know, that was a chorus that I had written on a pitch day. So we were just writing loads of choruses, big, symmetrical.
I didn't even know that was going on.
Yeah.
There's a pitch day where you just write choruses.
Yeah, I did. I just a pitch day, write choruses, because verses and pre-choruses are easy to fill. You know, you need a big chorus, and then you just got a folder of choruses. These dance choruses.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was on that particular day, you know, and I'd never even intended to stay on it as an artist. It was me as a songwriter, you know. But you know, it's like that is technically a skill to learn symmetry, you know, what makes something hooky, what makes something really sticky, something that stays in your mind, something simple with a lyric that has a slight twist, but it's still simple enough that anyone can relate to it. Yeah. You know, it's creating something to sell. Yeah. You know, that's not like artistic, like excellence by my standard. Do you know what I mean? But it did big, you know?
Of course.
It made the money.
Yeah.
But then you have, like, I think where I'm at right now in my career, now I'm an independent artist and I have full control over my career, is I am the opposite now. Like, this is, for me, is creating with the intent to tell my stories, to heal from things that have stressed me out, caused me pain, things that, you know, like even my first song I dropped was called Hard Out Here. It is by no standards a big radio song. You know, it's like venting. Like there's like one big like angry like blah, 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 blah. Like that's what it was to me, you know. But that's art. For me, that's medicine. And for me, I much personally prefer and enjoy that side of things.
Did you have to relearn how to do that?
In a way, yes. More so kind of giving myself permission. You know, I think you get stuck in mindsets, you know, where I'd walk into the studio and it would be like, okay, I have a tick list of what I need to achieve. You know, I can't hand in anything below a certain BPM. So it had to be a certain tempo, had to be a certain, you know, it had to have the same structures. In all the new music I've released, if you listen to it, it's structure rebellion. For me, like, you know, a typical song, verse, pre-chorus, bridge, chorus, end, maybe a double chorus at the end and a tag. You know, like for me, this new chapter has been like, I'm rebelling against everything that I've been expected to deliver for the last couple years, you know, which is so liberating. Like Hard Out Here doesn't really have a chorus. Black Mascara doesn't really have any verses. It's just like one phrase looped over and over. you know, Escapism has like a whole pitch change, key change at the end. Like, it's just, I really love, I hate rules, you know, I hate
So you
rules.
really felt restricted in the last couple of years?
I definitely have, yes, but not anymore.
Yeah, I also saw you or heard you mentioning that writing for others felt different than writing for yourself.
100%.
But you also made it kind of seem that writing for yourself was more difficult than for somebody else.
I mean, you know, someone like me, I work really well under pressure, you know, so when it's like, okay, you know, there's a new artist, you know, you're going to go and work with them for the first time. I'm like, okay, I'm on the way. Like, I'm like, in my head, I've got to make a great impression.
Yeah.
I have to make sure this artist, you know, if they feel anything, is we have to do that again. You know, that's like my objectives. So I'm going there with the purpose of be great at what you do. I'll come with maybe some lyric ideas or some ideas or whatever, but I come with the energy and I deliver. So it's kind of like a completely different thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, how can I help this person tell the best story possible? And it's something that they love and they want to do it again. Like, that's like my goals and objectives when I'm writing with like artists specifically. And then for me, it's a whole different thing, because it's like, right, what story am I telling and how are we going to do it? But I don't necessarily find it difficult. It's
different.
It's just different. Yeah. I've been writing for so long. It's like, it's the thing I'm most confident at in life. You know, it's my superpower.
Yeah.
Like, that's my time to, like, I don't feel scared. I just feel excited, you know, and there's no rules. There's no possibilities. Especially now as an independent artist, I get to lift away any rule or any box or any boundary I'd have to sit within.
Yeah.
I get in that room and I just feel like anything's possible. What are we going to do today? There are no rules. Let's go.
It must be so liberating.
It is. It really is.
And also, I was wondering, how did you manage to restrict your feelings or circle out your feelings in writing sessions with other people? Because I imagine writing songs is so personal on some kind of level, but how do you keep your personal feelings out of that?
I think I don't keep my personal feelings out of it. I'm an open book. I'm like, hello, like, what do you want to know? Do you know what I mean? I'm so unsecretive. I'm not elusive. Like, I'm just as open as it gets. And I think this really helps me as a writer, because let's talk, let's open up, let's tap in.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, I'm too open. Do you know what I mean? But this helps. I think maybe as a writer, it helps maybe the artist I'm working with not to feel any kind of fear or inhibitions, because it's like, well, here's some messed up shit I've been through. Sorry, excuse my French. You can bleep out the way.
That's all right.
Here's some
you can curse here.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh,
go
wow.
ahead.
Wow. Look at that. Well, here's some fucked up shit that I've been through. You know, or here's how I dealt with this, or I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, we're all humans, and I think capturing humanness is important. Personally, for me, in songs, it's got to be real. It's got to be raw, and it's got to be explicitly honest. Otherwise, you know, what are we doing?
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
But did you ever write a song in a writing session, and afterwards you were like, that's too personal to me. I don't want to give it away. I want to keep it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that happened?
Yeah, that's never in the room with an artist though.
Okay.
No. I think empathy is a big thing as well for me. Like, you know, I'm the kind of person who will watch like a 1 minute clip on YouTube or on, you know, socials of someone telling their story, and then I'm crying at the end of it. Do you know what I mean?
Crier.
I'm an empath. I'm a crier. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'll think about it all day. Like, you know, so for me, there's an honest dialogue or communication, and I step into someone's shoes and I'm like, how do we tell your story? That's very consciously a thing. I think if I was to ever get, you know, and for me actually personally as a songwriter now at the place I am in my career, I prefer to work with artists who have a vision or have stories they want to tell, opposed to wanting kind of the best version of my own story, because I don't think that's integrity. I don't think
they're usually coming into the writing session with a pitch of a topic they want to like write about.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Yeah.
I prefer, you know, this is the direction I want to go in. This is the sonic I want to explore. This is how I've been feeling. This is what my intention is. This is what I want to capture. I think where it gets a bit dangerous sometimes, you know, as an artist, is when you come into a room and it's like, well, I don't know. I don't really know what I want to create. What do you think? And I'm like, no, don't. This isn't about, you know what I mean? Because I can't give you my, you know, I've got to keep my artistry. I'm here to help you tell your story in your way. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah.
So it can get a bit tricky there.
Yeah. I'm going to let you sip some tea now. I'm so
thank
sorry.
you.
I'm going to
No, don't be silly. Thank you. It's probably really hot anyway.
When you're welcome, of course. When I started hosting a few years ago, I made like the unconscious but still kind of conscious decision to only name the singer of a song, because I felt like something was wrong in there, but I didn't quite think about it. I was just like, no, if somebody's singing the song, I'm not going to name the producer. Why the fuck would I do that? There's somebody, at least I mentioned the vocal, the person that gave the vocals first, and afterwards the producers.
Well, good for you, girl.
Or I didn't even do that. And then I heard an interview where you mentioned that this was kind of also an issue. So I was wondering, is it an actual issue?
I mean,
in the dance industry?
Yeah, it's definitely an issue in the dance industry. And, you know, it's the thing, like, you don't want to be salty and negative, but at the same time, there is just facts and truth. And, you know, I am very vocal and passionate about this, probably because I've lived it for a bit, and also because it just annoys me in some cases when there are producers and dance producers who don't even create their music. They don't even make their beats. They are like just faces, and they get all the credit and the money. And, you know, you've also got to think like think about even live shows, right?
Yeah.
A DJ is pulling up with a memory stick, you know what I mean? Maybe some lights if they're, you know, David Guetta flipping pulls up with a whole flipping thing, do you know what I mean? But if you're like, you pull up with a memory stick, you're getting paid stupid money to mime a set. Half of them are miming for half an hour. It's the truth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And you have singers and vocalists who are out here. You have to get your hair and makeup. Like, for me, when I'm doing a show, like, I have to pay my band. Like, I have to pay for glam. I have to pay for a whole thing. It's not cheap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're getting paid a quarter of the cost. Meanwhile,
standing there in joggers.
You know what I'm saying? Standing there in joggers behind the thing, minding a thing. And you didn't even write it. You're not singing it. And you didn't even make the beat. Now, I want to hurt you. But obviously not hurt you. But you know what I'm saying? It's unfair.
Yeah.
And sadly, this is just life. Like, it is kind of a metaphor for how it is, you know, a lot of the time. Don't get it twisted. There are some incredibly talented DJs out there, some incredibly talented producers out there who, you know, guide their art and who see through their art, and, you know, and also give respect that's due to vocalists, who most of which are women most of the time, you know. So this is where it becomes tricky, because also most DJs are men. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying?
There's an imbalance there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets tricky. And especially in those times at the beginning of my career where, you know, my name was never getting mentioned. People, you know, even, you know, the DJs I was working with, you know, I'm not allowed to be in the video, or I'm not allowed any creative control, or I'm not allowed to come to the interview.
They actually say they don't want to have you in a video.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I've been through all of that and stuff. But then you know, you can imagine how a woman can become bitter or upset at the industry, or, you know, you're working so hard, but no one knows who you are. They know the song, but no one knows who you are. Yeah. You know, it's tricky. And I'm at a place where I've found my peace with that in my past, but I don't agree with the way that it unfortunately is.
Did you struggle with that mentally? Did it affect you?
100%. Yeah, that was really tough.
How did you not give up?
I just love it so much. I believe this is what I was born to do. Yeah. And I'm a fighter, you know, I'm going to find a way, make a way. You know, also forgiveness is important. You know, I think I would be a very bitter person if I didn't know how to, like, let things go.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, also facts. But you managed to get out of that cycle by just asking for what you wanted, asking for the credit. Do you think, especially women in that kind of business and area, are too reluctant to ask for what they want?
You know, the interesting thing is this industry makes you feel like you don't have a choice. You know, there are a lot of people and a lot of systems that are firmly cemented in place and can't be altered. And that I severely, wholeheartedly agree with. You know, I guess there's an element of, I've done the time, so to speak. You know, I've worked a lot behind the scenes and I've done a lot of compromising and I've done a lot of these things. This is a big thing also in like the songwriting world, of which a lot of women are, of which there's a lot of rules in place. You know, oh no, we can't give songwriters a master point on the record. Meanwhile, a producer will get 4, but you can't give a songwriter 1. No, because this is the way it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's not the way. It's not the way it should be. There are things that go on behind the scenes that are just wrong. Yeah, they're just wrong.
I don't want to like force to pull the feminine card, but what do you think is the ratio between male songwriters and female songwriters?
Well, there are male songwriters who only write songs and don't produce, but there are a lot less of them than there are producers who write as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So what happens is, if you're the producer in the room, you get a songwriting credit and you get production, you get paid when the song gets used. If you're a writer, you don't get paid until 2.5 years later, based on the sales of the song. Yeah. But if you're a producer, you're valued up front. You're given 10K, 20K for your work in that moment. So already there's an imbalance. Yeah. You know, and usually, again, the producer is a man and the songwriter is a woman in a lot of cases, you know? Yeah. It's just tricky, like the behind this, and this is the thing, because it's behind the scenes and no one particularly really cares about songwriters because they don't understand it. A lot of people don't even know there are writers helping to create songs, you know? Yeah. So it is very tricky, but, you know, for me, I'm very passionate about, you know, justice and the right thing being done. And I'm very passionate about the songwriting community because that's how I started in the industry. You know, I have an artist income. For me, it's not about money. It's about up and coming new songwriters who are struggling through, because systems have changed. Streaming has come forward. They haven't adjusted rates correctly for paying songwriters what they deserve. And do you know what's so funny? In an industry based on songs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nah. So I ain't going to be quiet about this until I see things change.
You go, girl.
Absolutely. You can believe I'm going to be so annoying. Yeah. I've already started, you know, I've said on Twitter and like, so, you know, I'm so annoying, but I don't care. You know, someone wanted to use a song and I went on messages and I'm like, you can use a song if you give me 2 points and you give me a fee. And then I screenshot it and put it on Twitter and I'm like, songwriters, take note. Like, it's time's coming where we're changing these things.
What kind of feedback did you get?
It was hilarious. Half the industry were bitching about it. Like, we're not going to give Raye her point. Who does she think she is? Like, rah, 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 rah. Half the industry is like angry at me. Yeah. And a lot of the songwriting community are like, thank you for speaking up. Like, let's change shit, you know?
Yeah, that's also a question I wanted to ask. What do you think how you can, or people can break the cycle? Talking about it like you do?
Talking about it, awareness, you know, I think supporting, you know, the little people, because songwriters are the little people, you know. People don't care about songwriters because they're not the artists, you know what I mean? But often songwriters are
the work
artists with broken dreams, or artists that never made it and that just decided to, you know, commit to another side of the industry and help other artists put together their art, you know. Just appreciating, you know, these people, going on Spotify and searching who wrote a song, like giving, you know, learning about it. If you have a favorite song, why is it your favorite song? Look at the credits. Who helped to make your favorite song? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. songwriters, like that's like, I'm rooting for them. What a flipping tough gig though.
If you would imagine like the 13-year-old girl, the 13-year-old Raye, that was dreaming about making music, be a star, be an artist, what would she be disappointed?
Oh God.
And what would she be like extra cheering on?
Oh, she would be very proud of some of the rooms I've been in, some of the things I've achieved, some of the stages I've been able to perform on. She would be very proud because, you know, I had no plug in this. I had no, I worked hard to open the doors for myself, you know?
Yeah.
She would be really proud of that. I've worked very hard. She would be, if I could, you know, with the good comes so much fuck shit. You know?
So you have to choose now.
Oh, honestly, you know, sadly, she would not go places on her own. She would always have a friend or a chaperone, definitely. She would be cautious, sadly, a little bit less trusting. And yeah, it's a very interesting thing because you come in with a big heart and, you know, wide eyes, you know, and then very quickly, but much like life, isn't it? Much like going from a girl to being a woman. You do realize, oh, right, life, it's got its beautiful parts, it's got its silver linings, but it definitely has its clouds, you know? Yeah.
Is there an experience that you could have lived without?
Many experiences I could have lived without. Some of which I'll talk about on this album that's coming next year. You know, some of the songs I've been singing on this little tour I've been doing as well. Oh, you know, this is just part of my story. But yeah, there's definitely some traumas and some awful things that I just wouldn't wish on anyone, that you just have to carry around with you. And, you know, it's part of who I am. It's part of what's made me who I am. And, you know, we can't wish to change, only to learn and educate and help spread awareness and just protect our future girls from ever being in, you know, having to go through that. Yeah. Wild.
You turned the darkness into beautiful gifts that you share with other people.
Thank you. Yeah. That's what it's about. It's just, you know, in life you're dealt what you're dealt, you know, there's, you know, you have to take what you're given and work out how to turn the lemon into lemonade, as Beyonce said, or turn the sour grapes into wine, you know? Yeah. It's just what music is, essentially.
Yeah, kind of. But there's also congratulations due to your new album that is about to come out.
I'm so excited. My first one. Oh, bloody hell.
So let's talk about that, because you really had to struggle to get there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I waited a long time, you know. I think when I was at my previous label, they'd kind of decided that I wasn't the albums girl, you know. I was a singles girl. I was better making a certain kind of music. And I understand, you know, in hindsight, it's a business, right? But for me, it's not. It's so personal, you know. It's a lifelong dream, and you know, I want to be an artist who creates bodies of work, and I have no restriction around that. You know, for me, I never did this for the money. I never did this to like be number one in the chart or to sell whatever inch of my soul in order to achieve that. You know, or compromise was never something I was ever into or interested in. It was just something that I had to learn. Yeah. You know, if you do this or if you can achieve that, then you can do this. You know, leverage, just, you know, but you had, sadly, you know, white men on my label, and this isn't to bash, you know, it's just men or to bash white people. It's not that, but it's just for facts. Yeah. You know, there's a guy who I'm really good mates with, and he's like, oh, I had a completely different experience there. And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, oh, they were like, you're the albums guy. And I'm literally there like, I've been waiting 7 years to put an album out.
To be honest, I didn't even know there was such a thing as singles guy or a girl and albums guy or girl. What is that kind of category? You know? That's so strange.
Yeah, so I was the designated rent a vocal feature girl, singles, no bodies of work. There's no budget for that. There's no room in the budget for that. But, you know, meanwhile, you've got... This is when I knew something was really messed up. It was just there was a kid who just got signed to the label, and I went on Instagram and I was looking at him. He had like something like 400, 500 followers, like really young, up and coming new kid. And they'd given him a budget to release an album. And I'm literally sat there like, I have to, you told me I have to earn it. So what did he have to do to earn it? Because he's just signed to you and he's allowed to create a body of work. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I was just singled out from the jump, really. But yeah, you have to let those things go, otherwise you can become really, you know, hurt and really confused and really just like, why do I deserve that? I think it's maybe being a woman, being also delivering them a formula that had worked because I'm a writer and I can write dance songs or whatever. You know, it was like, no, you need to stick to the formula and keep doing that.
How were you, or how did you manage to cut the ties then?
I went on Twitter and I was like, let me go. I just reached a point where I was like, I would rather quit than keep doing this this way. And I'd never once, since I was 10 years old, committed to my career, ever felt like giving up, ever.
Yeah.
But this is the point where it like mentally, physically even impacting me now, where I'm like having to go out and fake that I love music, that I'm putting out and putting my name to, that I'm not proud of and that is not me and that is not what I want to be doing, just so that I could try and do enough to earn being able to release an album or bodies of work. It's just really sad because to me, music is my life, you know, it's my heart and soul.
Yeah, I feel that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then I'm out here faking it for a really long time.
Yeah.
No.
How long was it though?
It was 7 years.
7 years?
Well, yeah, when I first
struggling
signed,
that much?
when I first signed, I had an album. I was 17.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm ready. You know, the second I put pen to paper, I was like, okay, well, we're going to pause that for a while. You know, you've got to start building a fan base. So we're going to start with EPs.
Thinking you could release an album.
Oh,
they were like, no, that's not going to.
And I signed a 4-album deal and they didn't let me release one. 7 years. Yeah. Yeah. And meanwhile, I helped was part of a lot of other artists on that label writing songs for their albums.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even.
So hurtful.
No, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It was bad. Yeah.
Does the struggle that you have had to go through makes you extra proud of the album now?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it didn't happen in the way I thought it would, you know, because a lot of the songs are songs that have existed for a long time, songs I've had for years.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like this album is like broken bits of glass that I've kind of polished away at and made this kind of mosaic opposed to, you know, a painting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's imperfect and it's just eccentrically me, and I'm so flipping excited. It doesn't feel real.
Yeah. But how did you approach the concept for the album then? Is it like, did you know from the beginning, oh, this is going to be my favorite songs from the last 7 years that I wrote? Or was it that you really wanted to tell a different story from top to bottom?
Well, I guess I had the title a couple of years back, My 21st Century Blues. And I knew that I wanted to tell stories about different themes. So I had like titles, you know, and stories that I wanted to cover. You know, Ice Cream Man is a song on the album that it talks about kind of like rape and abuse and kind of like dark stuff that I went through in my past. And, you know, like, so like that's one, you know, and then I had a song like Escapism where I wanted to talk about, you know, and there's another song on there that talks about that. It's just like addictions and running away from reality and how you process trauma and how you process, you know, not being able to exist in your sober mind, you know, which is intense, but like I had stories I wanted to cover: body dysmorphia, you know, dealing with like eating disorders and tricky things. Again, like all things I had to kind of hide and keep to myself and deal with on my own. You know, this album is kind of just expressing all of that. Song called it's you know, it's real, but it's honest, and it's just you know, my blues and being a woman in the 21st century and my thoughts and it's just very honest, very open, very raw, you know, but it's medicine. It's my medicine. Yeah.
Is there a song on the album that is especially dear to your heart, or that was especially hard to write, or one that's just emotionally stands out to you?
Probably Ice Cream Man. Yeah.
What about it?
It's just, I can't sing it without completely breaking down. Like it's even just it's every time you sing it or talk about it or whatever, you evoke the place that, you know, I was when I first wrote it. It's just you know, it's sad. Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad but empowering song, but it's pretty sad.
How would you manage to sing that song on stage?
I just about manage, and I will definitely need therapy when I put it out, you know, and have to sing it a lot more.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it'll get easier with time. Yeah.
Yeah. Your album is coming out in February.
I know.
That's such a long time until then. I mean, you waited 7 years. How can you wait just a single
I've
day where it would
waited 7 years.
explode?
Like, I've waited so long.
But you must be so patient. Seriously.
Patience is something I was not born with, but I have had to learn how to find it.
Well, you're really good at it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there a question from the whole conversation we had that you wish I would have asked you? No, I feel like this has been a pretty detailed, lovely conversation. I feel like we've covered a lot of topics. I wasn't fishing for compliments.
No, I'm just being honest.
Okay,
I'm just being honest. Like, this has been, you know, thorough, not surface level. Like, we've gone deep. Like, it's been a real lovely, conversation.
Yeah, the podcast is called Lowkey Deep. So
amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, seriously, it was so much fun. Seriously.
Oh, what a pleasure.
Oh, wait, when are you gonna go on tour with the album then?
I have not officially said yet.
Okay.
So I can't really say, but you know,
we just keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Just watch your Twitter. I learned, not Instagram. Yeah, no, Twitter is supposed to go.
Apparently, I love Twitter. I always be talking on Twitter. Always be typing on there.
Thanks so much, Raye.
Thank you, darling.
Lowkey Deep. Gold interviews with Cassandra.